Come with us on an adventure to a mysterious land where make-believe becomes reality. A land filled with excitement and wonder. Meet Kung Fu kangaroos and face off against the evil, flamboyant villain, Komodo. Come with us to the land of Tao and experience the warriors of virtue this week on Big Boys.
Prepare to be mesmerized and or mortified.
Well, what's happening there?
Old Sorrel's here had him something now.
You son of a...
Yeah, clever. Kind of soft and only like in one ear.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that.
Look at those boys, ain't they?
Big Boys with Brian Hickey and John the Great.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another beautiful, phenomenal episode of the Big Boys podcast. I'm your host, Brian Hickey. With me, as always, is my cohort in all things podcasting, the man, the myth, a champion of T-shirts, a wearer of champions of T-shirts.
Yeah.
From the World Series, yeah. Sir John the Great. John, what's new with you? What's new with your Texas Ranger junk?
Well, I got this shirt this past fall after the Texas Rangers won their first ever World Series and made history. That was cool.
It's pretty dope.
But what's the most newest is I was thinking it's awful flippant use of the word phenomenal, but I like the positive attitude. Yeah.
I mean, that was your note. That's what's new with you, is you just had a note for me having a flippant use of that term. That is
the newest thing. Yeah, it just happened.
I see. Well, You want to know what's newest with me?
Okay, sure.
How quickly I got offended by that.
All right. Yeah.
That's what's newest today. That, and I also watched Warriors of Virtue. My goodness. What a joyful experience this was, buddy. I gotta, the whole time I was watching it, I just had to, at some point I knew I was going to have to stop the movie and just, you did it. You found the perfect movie for this podcast.
Yeah.
I've watched it 3 times, and I will not be able to make sense of this, and it's just glorious in more ways than I could have fathomed. The floor is yours, Johnny boy. This was your pick, so give the audience a rundown of what we experienced.
Well, this is one of those movies I feel like I've had, like one of those you saw as a kid, and you always could kind of just remember little bits of, but you could never, like, what was that movie? I don't know. The only thing I was able to remember was the villain's name was Komodo, and so I just did a Google search one day, movie with a villain named Komodo, and it came up. I was like, there it is. And so I decided we should watch it.
Google autocorrected. Did you mean Fever Dream with a villain named Komodo?
Oh my goodness! Like, this is one of those movies. I don't even really remember much about watching it as a kid, other than the fact that I watched it. But like the last,
it's amazing to me that it's like so obviously marketed to children, yet there are explicit parts where like, this is no longer a kid's movie, for sure.
Well, that's kind of what I thought when they said shit happens. I was like, okay. I realized... Yeah.
My best, which, that was kind of, you had like a one swear word kind of legality. I don't know what the right term would be, but in the 90s, it was almost acceptable. Like, you're going to hear a kid say shit or damn and like the Sandlot or something, So as long as it wasn't like a huge F-bomb, like one was permissible, it seemed like.
True, but they did it 3 times.
Yeah, but I was like, when the stakes got real, and then you got the protagonist, fucking the best made-up name ever, Ryan Jeffers.
Yeah.
Jeffers, my God. And I realized as I'm saying this, making fun of, there probably are real people with the last name Jeffers out there. Listen, I feel your pain as a man with last name Hickey. Okay, like I didn't even it didn't even take imagination from school bullies to come up with a name. They would just say my last name and point. And that was it.
And
That's
go.
all they had. They didn't have to.
And go.
There's no pun
"Eh,
needed.
eh."
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. But as Ryan, but like the stakes got real in this, like where Ryan is like crying and like the ditch just like, I don't want to know death.
Yeah.
Like Jesus Christ, this is like just the acid trip just got really, really dark.
Well, and what got me is like, okay, no sane person advocates for killing or murder, but at the same time, like we're in this fantasy world. You have a villain who's literally draining life resources from the entire world around it.
Yeah,
And yet
and
that
then
one creature was like, he accidentally killed an enemy, and then they were like, all life is sacred, and like
Yeah.
he, like what, like he killed someone who's trying to kill them, and they're all just torn up about it. Like,
and then it's never really fully explained, other than there was potential teen virgin's brother. What is the actress's name again?
oh, Marley
Um,
Shelton,
Marley Shelton. Yeah, she's great. In
who
this,
was
by the
looking
way,
pretty
but-
good in this. Yeah.
But it was kind of I couldn't make heads or tails of like what age she was supposed to be portraying in this, because she's obviously very childlike with Mr. Jeffers as he's enters her world.
True, but it seemed
So
like she was treating him more like a younger brother, like someone she cared for.
Exactly, but
Not
like
that she was
yeah, but
into.
no, not like that, but like almost like comparably to the girls that were in the sewer with him when he I assume drowned to death and had this as like his last minute fever dream before he entered the void.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way this makes sense is that this is all just his dying dream. The whole experience.
That's half what I was expecting at the end was to come up and you just see the local the newspaper and be like, local teen drowns. It was like football hero on trial for manslaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do credit the movie for the actor who played I already forgot his name, but the school bully, the jock. Like he had an actual like visceral reaction as that character, as the kid is like drowning in front of him. He just like doesn't even try to save him. He just immediately goes like, oh God, oh geez.
Yeah, it's like both hands on his head.
Yeah. He's already like just fully committed to like, okay, this kid is dead. I gotta figure out my next move.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, everyone to collectively together. He was never here, right? And he's just like, oh.
I was kind of on board with the movie till about the halfway point. Then it just like it stopped even making any sense. I was kind of like, just what?
Oh, that's when I was fully on the upswing, man. Like I was on board coming into it, but like that's when it was like, oh, we're making a whole nother movie here that we're not going to answer these other questions. Oh, it was just.
I feel like
man,
there was stuff that was only
I-
mentioned once,
yeah.
then like never again.
Well, there's stuff there that's just like, okay, well, we gotta bring in the audience some way here. So, I'm a producer, and I have a small stake in whatever football team that head coach was affiliated with. And like, all right, we'll get him in here, and we'll get some football fans watching the movie. It would just be for one scene, and like, our nerd will be the the guy who picks up the towels and gives everybody water. But he's gonna be the
He's
genius
gonna have a bum leg.
play caller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, so cool that it gets fixed in Never Ending Story knockoff place. But like, even if like he comes back into the world without a bum leg, which I think does he? I think his
Because you can tell at the end he's like still limping when they walk away
is he okay?
with his friend
Well-
who's just like doing the cheesiest. Like he's obviously written as the child's like cool friend who's saying
Yeah,
all the
he's,
like weird like yeah.
It's like they just watched Hanging with Mr. Cooper, and then like they're like, all right, let's make that guy.
Yeah.
Let's make him a 10-year-old.
Yeah, like lines like let's make like Tom and Cruise. Like
Oh, it's fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting caught up on my tangent already. I feel like I'm going to keep on doing that with this movie because there's so many that just keep falling apart. Like, where was I going with that? you sidetracked me with "Let's make like Tom and Cruise." That was such a beautiful written line. I gotta assume that the writers' room just went home like, you know what, we did good today.
Yeah.
But so yeah, like they got to make stuff, to make it excuses for their budget, for their otherworldly underground layer here that's going to have this whole plot that doesn't really align at all with the whole first act of the movie of getting him down there. Like everything that takes place and before he makes it into what is the fictional sewer land called
Tao.
again? Tao, yeah. None of that really, other than the fact that he has a book that has nothing in it until the right time comes. Like none of that, relates to what he was doing up in the world watching his best 35 karate buddy, who is a cook / tenant of this restaurant.
Yeah.
Like
/ wise.
I thought that was gonna. Yeah, I thought like,
Yeah.
oh, is he the missing kangaroo? Like he just became human when he left Tao? No, just never brought back into the story again.
See, yeah, exactly. I was half expecting it to circle back around to like maybe Tao went to or Ming went to the same place like when he was a kid and that changed his life or something. At least them to come back and give him like a knowing like head shake like
Yeah, exactly.
I've
like,
been there
yes.
before.
Oh, you're back. I know it. Yeah, I know the experience you just experienced, right?
Yeah, and it's literally
None of
never
that.
mentioned again. Yeah.
Yeah.
He literally
Which I
just
guess
gave him a
there's, like-
blank book.
Yeah. But then, like, well, isn't there something in the end? Like, does he leave him a saying or something with the dog? You know what I'm saying?
Oh
like
yeah,
when,
it's in that jar with that cocoon.
yeah, when Forrest
him this-
Chump goes back at the end and wobbles his way over there. Yeah, you like that? I mean, yeah, the kid, they basically just took like, all right, let's do the Forrest Gump legs, but he just has one of them.
Just one, just enough to kind of hobble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's enough of an excuse of why he's not a a first string all varsity fucking football player. Like kid,
Yeah.
even if you get that leg fixed, back to my earlier tangent, like even if you get that legs fixed, you're not gonna be on fucking varsity with these kids.
Yeah.
Like they're fucking 3 feet taller than you.
Well, not to
Yeah.
mention, yeah, like, aren't you still in middle school? You're talking to like the senior high school player,
Right, yeah.
like,
And I love the transition of the music too when after they get through the makeshift cameo of like I can't think of the I looked them up just a second ago just to confirm it, but it was like, all right, I know this has got to be a cameo because they made such a huge deal on like revealing his face and going like, hey, I think I played a few games in my day. The head coach of the football team is a football player, but I can't for the life of me think of his name right now.
I didn't
So it should
notice
be
that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like again, I just recognized I would have recognized him as a face I recognized in the '90s, but I wouldn't have like if it hadn't been like shot in such a way. I'm like, okay, well, that's obvious. Like they're obviously like building up a cameo here because his face isn't revealed until he's telling you like, I think I played a game or two in my day, or he might as well just like wink and smile at the camera,
Yeah. Well, we will see.
Yeah,
Who
but,
played the coach?
Yeah, look that up. But the music transitions from like Victoria said, oh he made the play, and then he's looking off in the distance like a fucking psychopath, and seeing that the girls who are like, when has anyone ever, even as far as going to like the coach, like, oh man, he made a tremendous play. Let's all celebrate the coach for that kid who scored a touchdown. And like just the way that the music transitions from Victorious to like, oh no, they're all against you. And kind of that undertone as he like realizes like, oh, no one's celebrating me for making that call. Like, what? I realize you're a child, but come on, when have you ever experienced a football game where they're like, let's celebrate the guy who made the play.
Yeah, let's celebrate the guy who gave him
Yeah.
the idea. Unless you're the coach and everybody generally recognizes that you're responsible
Yeah.
kind of for the team, nobody cares. Like, yeah.
This Ryan is just always slowly coming to terms with every decision he's made has been a mistake, just the worst outcome of what he thought. Like, oh wait, I made the play, and They scored the big touchdown, yet I got none of the credit. I made a huge mistake. I should have played for the team. I should have got my leg fixed. Yeah. Like, oh, I made a huge mistake. I shouldn't have jumped in the swirling water. I didn't want to come to the land of death where I have to know. I know death now. That was a hilarious line. I'm paraphrasing it now, but it was something along the lines of like, I don't want to know death.
Yeah. Like, whoa, golly. Got real heavy there for a second.
Yeah, it's like a kid who got drafted into Vietnam and just like, this is nothing like I thought it would be.
Did you find it strange at all at the end? He wasn't even in the water. Like after they came out. Like, so that means he took a second and imagined himself falling in the water and going to Tao. And then imagining that whole thing. It wasn't some hallucination or dream he had like while drowning, because I was expecting it to go to the end and they were like fishing him out and he was okay, but they give him CPR and he's okay or whatever, and he's going to talk about, oh, I was there, kind of like a Wizard of Oz kind of thing, and you were there, and and all that.
Yeah. And then you hear the bully Brad just shouting like, "See, I didn't do manslaughter. I'm a good person. Yeah. I'm a good person."
But no, so that means literally he just stopped there, took a minute, and imagined the whole thing while they're going, is he going to come over here? And he's just,
Yeah. No, there was, I think there's a good amount of evidence that shows that actually, I think the imagination started from the moment the credits started rolling. Like, because everything up to this point, it's just a weird, like, kind of like if Enya had a motion picture. You know, the slow-mo beads falling, and then just following up with him and just how goddamn delusional he was about everything. And
well, I didn't.
He's got his best friend is like a 35-year-old bachelor. Has that outlook on life, like, man, just like a 90s sitcom. Let's make like Tom and let's cruise.
I might have to start saying that.
Yeah. Oh, I think we definitely should.
Yeah.
And I think we'll definitely have to make that a thing for sure. Speaking of which, do we have an ad read for this episode?
You mean like a trailer?
Like, do you have something for me to read?
No, I don't. But
yeah, I had a feeling you would drop the ball on that.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and got us an ad read because I'm dependable, and
I appreciate that.
Our audience can depend on me to do things that I say. This here is an ad read for Tom Cruise and his line of ships he now offers. Tom Cruise's cruise line. And so this is an ad read for that. Make like Tom and Cruise. Sail into a world of laughter and leisure with Tom Cruise's cruise line, where the only E-meter you'll encounter is the one measuring your excitement. Make like Tom and Cruise, away from the stress of everyday life, leaving behind any rigid doctrines faster than a Mission Impossible escape. Just kidding, Tommy. Our ships are designed for everyone, regardless of their thetan level. Oh, shots fired once again, Sir Thomas. Just kidding. Because on our cruises, the only thing going overboard is your worries. And some certain Sea Org members, if you don't like them. You know what I'm saying, Tommy? You get it, Tom. Join us where the only auditing you'll experience is the meticulous examination of our delicious buffet options. Unless, of course, you don't wash Mr. Cruise's floors right, and then that's just chicken and eggs for the rest of the time. Here, you're with the Sea Org. Am I right? Am I right, Mr. Cruise? Oh, just ask anyone with the Sea Org about Tom Cruise. You won't find any belief systems here, just an ocean of enjoyment. So set sail with Tom, where the only Sea Org is the organization of fun-loving passengers on board. What? Come at me, Tom. So, that's what we have today.
Wow. That was the perfect ad read for this movie because it didn't make any sense either.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think you actually that was very good. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. I didn't do one.
Well, I mean, if that is the case, I look at almost all blessing in disguises as certainly blessings with minimal disguise, because there's a lot of things you don't do. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of blessings in my life.
Yeah, work smarter, not harder. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Or just work.
Mm-hmm.
Just take the time out of your day. You know, allot it within your schedule. Find the motivation within yourself, and
I think, Brian,
do
you
the
keep this up, we're gonna have to make you a warrior of virtue. Brian,
I was hoping you
the
might say that.
warrior, the warrior sanctimonious. Yeah. What is it? Yeah.
Yeah,
What
the
would your element
self-righteous
be?
kangaroo?
Dude, also speaking of which, real quick, before I forget, did you think they were going to summon Captain Planet at the end? Because that's what I felt like.
Oh,
First
for
off, I
sure,
kept
man.
thinking that at the end when they were saying like fire, water,
Yeah.
Earth and all this, and I was like, oh my goodness. And then when they finally like put their rings together, whatever, and like you see the colors, I was like, oh my god, they're doing
Yeah.
it. They're summoning Captain Planet. Like, yeah.
They pretty much do, man. I mean, they eventually got exhausted with their dancing around, earth, water, wind, and
Yeah.
it's like, wood and fire and water and earth. What was that? That's what Captain Planet.
Yeah. And when the powers combine, they form Captain Planet. I just can't get over the ending. Like, it seemed like almost like the writers had worked themselves into a corner and they were like, all right, we just got to wrap this thing up. Like, it's a kids movie. They're not going to care. The parents aren't watching it. Like,
Didn't make any. I mean, yeah, that's where I was like, oh, this is just when you thought this sleigh ride couldn't get any crazier. The only person who can die but can get reincarnated is Angus McFadden. Seems like in this universe.
Despite the fact,
is it his universe?
That was so strange. Like, first off, whatever they were saying, like, oh, he weakened himself when he was like, what exactly did he do to weaken himself?
He killed their.
Is it when he killed that other girl?
I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he killed Chunk.
Oh, I guess
too.
Yeah. So I guess
he killed twice.
So he did kill. He did kill. What was her name again? The actress, Marlene.
No. He didn't kill her, Marley Shelton.
Okay.
His.
So no,
that other girl with the
lady.
claws on her hands killed her.
Yeah. But Marlene
he
Shelton
killed her.
Right. Okay. But does he get her powers from when she dies? You know what I mean? Like, because it wasn't. Yeah, there was a big old opening here. Like, I just left the fan theory that I have that it's like clearly this is his universe. He is, hurting himself by killing others. The only way that he can ascend is dying. Kind of seemed like.
But then he came back and he was like, it was like he was amnesic. He didn't know anything. He was almost like childlike.
And the life strings came back, right?
Yeah, and he was like, where? And then I guess it rained. I didn't know we were in a drought because then everybody was celebrating over the rain.
So Angus McFadden is the life spring.
I don't know. I think you're trying to make it deeper than it goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like you said, I do think what that was probably exactly what happened is the writer's like, I'm tired, but we know where we were going with this, right? Like, we could just allude to the rest of it. Like, again, I'm tired too. I get it. We got to get this out. But, we had it. We had an end goal. We won't get there all the way, but we'll just leave it off in the distance and people can summarize.
Well, and they're like, well, we can't. This is a kid's movie. The studio won't let us show anybody actually dying. So,
well, it's a kid's movie. I mean, we could have him screaming about how he doesn't want to know death anymore, and we could say shit happened 7 times.
Yeah, exactly. But that's it. We've used up all of our. We can't do anything else. Yeah, or else we're gonna slip into that PG-13 rating.
Say anything further, we're looking at RoboCop ratings somehow.
Yeah.
Just goes from that to X.
Well, that doesn't make sense. Why didn't they kill off the villain? Why didn't they kill off Komodo? Yet they killed.
Or you bring back the old master. You know.
Yeah. That would have made sense. Well, I don't know if it would have made sense, but at least would have been nice if after Komodo was dead, the master was resurrected.
Would have been a more wholesome thing. But I think this feeds into more of the narcissistic angle of like, oh, it's clearly his universe because only he comes back to life, and everything else springs anew with him springing anew. Because if it was the old master that also comes back, then it's like, oh, they're all the universe or whatever. But nope, it's just this guy.
But when he
just
came
the
back
guy
to
life, who wears if there was a guy who had all the Power Rangers clothing, but also had a kink. Like
Dude,
this is, yeah.
Angus McFadden's a good actor, but I want to know what the director
he's fantastic in this.
Yeah, what the director was thinking. It was like, all right, we got this villain. We're gonna make him kind of flamboyant, and you're just gonna scream and holler like an actual lunatic throughout half the movie.
Here's what I think happened: is I think that the director was like, all right, Angus. So we're gonna, we got everything's union here. We got to make sure everything's set in line. Got about an hour and a half to kill. Here's an eighth of mushrooms. Go ahead and take this now.
Yeah.
And once everything's, everything's set to go, you just hit your mark and you just start babbling. I'm gonna have you on this little cocoon, here, and then you're just gonna start babbling, and then. If you could, at the end of all the nonsense you say, ask your main guard, like, do I look good in purple?
Like an actual crazy person, like just. Yeah. Where did that come from, too? By the way, just randomly, do I look good in purple? But all of a sudden, Buffalo Bill over here.
If he wasn't, that's what I'm saying. If he wasn't on mushrooms, he was doing a damn good impression of somebody who was, because the way that he was holding the book too, it was very much like. His fingers were telling the story of like, oh, aren't touching things just the best? Like it was just like he was just moisturizing a book, and has like, do I look good in purple? I feel good in purple.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Do I look as good as I feel?
Like he's in a mirror just dancing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, all right, let's get rolling before Angus starts taking his clothes off again.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I'm also picturing a conversation with like. The director when he's being cast, and then be like, Angus, loved your work in Braveheart. I've got this film. It's nothing like that. So yeah. We're not doing that at all. Yeah. But still, loved you in Braveheart. Like, yeah.
And what you do good in this, we'll put in a good word for maybe Robert the Bruce being made 20 years from now.
Yeah, 20 years later. Yeah.
Did you see that? I haven't seen. Honestly, I need to see Braveheart. Just come out and say that. That's a mistake on my part. I definitely didn't watch it.
I didn't know you hadn't seen that, or else I would have made a point of it when we were, still living nearby.
Yeah, but there's also a follow-up to Braveheart. I don't know if you would necessarily call it a sequel, because I mean it is an actual character in history, so it could be just a different take. There's Robert the Bruce. He is starring as Robert the Bruce once again. So
I think it's like
in 2019.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I wanted to. I think it's like a soft sequel, because he is a real character in history, like you said. But I think it's supposed to be like a sequel movie about the same character he played in Braveheart.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it would seem to be almost inescapable.
Yeah.
It's like if again, another movie I haven't seen, but what was the Jesus character from the Big Lebowski?
The Jesus, yeah.
The Jesus is there's a movie made by the guy who plays that character, and he directed it and everything.
Yeah, the Jesus rolls.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't even know if he's got the distinct, because the Coen brothers didn't direct it, so I don't even know if he's got the distinct seal of approval for him to do it. He could just be, for
Yeah.
all legal purposes, he could just be a guy named Jesus who likes a bowl. You know what I mean? But it's like a spirited sequel.
I mean, the way he dresses, all that, it's obviously supposed to be the same character.
Yeah. I guess I would argue that Jesus, man.
Excuse me, yeah.
You gonna die on me?
No, just
Cool.
come down with a little cough, but I'll be all right.
Well, as I was saying before, you were about to die on camera. The Jesus character is a fictional character created by the Coen brothers, so therefore they could probably have a little bit more leniency in saying yes or no for him playing that character again. Whereas Robert the Bruce was an actual person in history, so technically, Angus McFadden could make a movie about him and claim that it's totally about a different series of events in this guy's life, has nothing to do with Mel Gibson's Braveheart.
Well, we can find out.
Yeah,
Because I want to say it is.
I'm really more curious how the fuck this movie got made, though, man. It's So is this when did Braveheart come out? That was
95.
So Angus McFadden is a sought after fella at this point.
Yeah, because Braveheart
I would
came
think.
out, made a huge splash, won a bunch of awards. So,
He's
that's
fantastic at it.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, again, I haven't seen it, but I know Angus McFadden, especially from this movie, and he is the man swings the bat. You know what I mean? Like he makes this movie like he knows what movie he's in with his acting in this. Whereas I was saying like Morris Chestnut could have went a little wackier in that Half-Past Dead movie.
Yeah.
He could have took a note from old Angus here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Angus,
Dude,
if anything,
I mean,
yeah.
the movie's not bad because of Angus McFadden. Like, he played the part great. It's just the entire movie was insane.
Yeah. It's probably one of the few movies that I don't think, there's some people that can go to sleep watching movies. This is hands down got to be one of them that you can't, because it's just every 10 minutes or so, Angus McFadden is just screaming and, jumping about 90 feet.
Yeah, like his powers just it seemed almost like a kid making up powers here and there. Like he would just.
Yeah. Well, it seemed like he was like, this is what drugs are personified through a human being.
And then out of nowhere, he splits himself into 5 different Komodos that they're all fighting. Then he's a shapeshifter and impersonates Master Chung.
Yeah.
And then they defeat him because, I don't know.
And then he's reincarnated, and he's the meaning of life.
Like he comes back, and what was it he was asking? He was like, he came back and
he was like, "I'm lost. You know where my home is."
Yeah, that's
very.
You know where my
it
home
almost
is.
seemed like it was. Yeah, it was such a basic thing to say after like this huge, grandiose, explosion of everything being rebirthed into life, and then just like, just some dope going like, "Excuse me, I'm lost. Where go?" Just slightly more intelligent than that. It was almost like somebody just ran up to set like didn't have a script on hand, like, what's my line, like, hey, I'm lost, how do I get home, something like that. Just wow, we're trying to wrap after this, we really need you to get this one right before the mushrooms kick back in, I guess. And, limited time for them, no doubt. So are you reading? What are you reading?
Okay,
about,
so this is kind of, I was looking up the answer. So Robert the Bruce, it's not a direct sequel. It says it basically covers the time between William Wallace's death and their final victory at Bannockburn. Yeah, it says reprises his role in the earlier moments from Robert's life before the final battle at Bannockburn. It says where Braveheart follows the life of Gibson's William Wallace, Robert the Bruce follows the life of McFadden's downtrodden Robert before his rise as king. Yeah, and this website says something similar too. Personal story of his journey after the death of William Wallace. Robert suffered years of defeat before forcing the English army out. The film is an homage to the clan families that fought and died supporting him. So, yeah. So it is the same character, but it's not like a direct sequel. It's kind of, I guess, like a spin-off kind of in a way.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't, because once again, he's a historical figure. You don't have to say that it's,
Yeah.
based on Mel Gibson's Robert the Bruce character from Braveheart.
True, but I know the movies take a lot of artistic license. Like, they're not, like, at least Braveheart, great movie, but it's not really historic.
Yeah.
It's
Not a lot
really-
of people from that. Yeah, not a lot of people from that time period chiming in.
No.
Well, that's not what it was really like.
Well, no, I'm just saying there's a lot of like pretty much the whole thing is not really. It's like it's basically fictionalized. Like it's not an accurate historical movie.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Nobody was around to document that. There's no camera crew doing a Ken Burns Braveheart at that time.
Well, I mean, we still have history, like there's documented history, we know at least. Like there's documented evidence of William Wallace that he really existed, just not like that movie.
Still very much hoping that we will get a Ken Burns as Braveheart.
That would be awesome, dude. That would be a funny skit right there.
Well, something to think about in the future. Oh man, and I just assumed that they would once again just tie something from the first act into the last act of the movie.
No,
Like,
it was
made
like
such a huge
they just
like
kept
display
building.
the kitchen karate guy, and then nothing paid off there other than he handed him a book that he's never going to get back, and doesn't know what the results are of him handing him that book. So it's a weird, just a weird setup that doesn't deliver at all.
Yeah, that guy. It seemed like he was gonna have a like he's supposed to be like having a big impact on this kid's life. Like that kid, wasn't he actually like in his apartment at one point? Like that's where he gave him the book.
Yeah, which is also the restaurant.
Yeah, so I guess he lives above it.
Yeah. Oh man, I know
And
it's easy to poke fun at easy like problematic relationships between an adult man and a child. Man, well, this was just sopping wet with yikes. You know?
The cooking seemed more like a restaurant advertisement. I was like, okay, are we watching? Is this like a product placement here?
Yeah, it was Benny Karate Hama.
Yeah, with his kung fu cooking.
Yeah, it was already. You didn't think it could go any past a bit much when he does the no looking behind him and throws it into the plate of rice and everyone's cheering him, and then to even one up the celebration of him doing something ridiculous, he kicks the fan off. He does a karate kick above his head and kicks the fan off.
I don't remember the fan. I remember he like karate kicked kung fu kicked the
You're
the sink,
right. You're
the
right.
sink
Yeah,
on.
kung fu. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Yes,
to
the
wash out
term,
the wok.
Yeah. Man, Kung Fu Kitchen, man.
There's a skit right
And you
there.
would
The Kung
expect
Fu
him like
Kitchen.
also. Yeah. Why I'm so good on my feet is because I used to be a Roo.
Yeah,
I love how like in this mythical land, like how comfortable everybody is just calling them Roos too. Like and Ryan is in the rowboat with Blondie make a questionable virgin. And he's like, warriors of virtue? Can I see them? What are they like? And she's just like mindlessly fucking paddling. Oh, they're Roos.
yeah.
Just-
I guess you couldn't
no
come up
further
with a-
explanation. And like, wait, like you mean like kangaroos? Like, I don't know. Again, you come up in this world, so maybe you don't overthink it. But if I'm thinking like, okay, this guy has only experienced other human beings talking out of their mouth and making sense, I'm gonna, really slow this down for him rather than just like be all cutesy about it. I'm not even gonna say kangaroos. I'm just gonna say roos. Other roos. What do you mean, like kangaroos? Like from Australia? Oh no, well these ones are. I think. what were their names? Like it was, they were all definitely Asian specific, like karate.
I don't remember their
names.
individual names. All I remember is that one is Yun, the one having the
Young,
problem.
yeah,
Yeah.
just young, yeah, and just
Well, everybody seemed shocked when the metal guy, whose ring got destroyed, but somehow his ring magically showed back up in the final fight against Komodo. Did you notice that? The big metal ring?
yeah.
And then it
'Cause he's so good
magically
at
showed
hula
back
hooping.
up. But yeah.
Yeah.
That just seemed like poor editing, like continuity. Like they just had a scene with that and they're like, oh, wait, didn't that get destroyed? Ah, screw it. We don't have time. Just
Yeah.
It's a kid's movie. Leave it in there.
All props flying in. All props
Yeah.
flying in.
Yeah. We don't have time to reshoot. So, yeah, then at the end when he says thank you and everybody's like, he talked. I was like, didn't he talk earlier? Like, that's not the first time he spoke.
It's on. Well, they also again look so much like each other. The kangaroos. I know that's a hot take. Probably get in trouble for that one later down the road. But
Those roos, they all look alike. Like, yeah.
they do. They kind of do, man. So it is hard to tell. Like, oh wait, which one's this one again? You know, I can only tell which one's the female one because she always has flowers on her head. But I was wondering, maybe you could look into this. But they were like around this time there was another movie that was highly featuring kangaroos. It's called Tank Girl, and like these were like these kangaroos were like SoCal kangaroos, but it was like basically they had like the same concept of like being mutated human-like kangaroos. So I'm wondering if they're using like the same head puppets, or who knows.
I don't know. I thought you were going to say Kangaroo Jack.
No, because that was a CGI kangaroo. This is only a couple years after Tank Girl. I think Tank Girl was like 93 maybe. But I wonder if they're both by MGM, because if it is by MGM, then I think they still have the rights to use those old headpieces.
Yeah, it was distributed. Tank Girl was distributed by MGM.
So they might have been using the same props then.
Maybe.
Isn't that nuts?
They look a little different, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they were like,
They
hey,
can dress
man,
them
don't we
up,
have
yeah.
like 20 of those
Yeah,
still left in
recycle
the
them.
warehouse? Like, yeah. Or these are the ones that didn't make Tank Girl somehow. So they're like, use them for this film. This one's straight to video. Who cares?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, a lot of the set pieces in this movie just seem like they're recycled from some other movie. Like the land, the Jim Henson land that they're in, where all the kangaroos meet up and get trained and all that.
Yeah.
That seems like a what was that last Star Wars movie that got made with the Ewoks?
Return of the Jedi?
Kind of looks like a set piece from that, doesn't it?
What? Which piece?
The one that's basically their homeland.
Oh, yeah, kinda. I could see that. Look kind of like the Ewok village, like they were copying it.
Precisely. That's what I was
Yeah.
going for, yes.
Yeah. You know, and to answer your question earlier, we've been talking about how crazy this movie is so fast that you asked, how did this get made? I was going to say, that's a great question, but I think, number one, it was straight to video, back when that was still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I think you kind of summed it up on one of the previous podcasts. It's it was like that post never-ending story kind of time. You know, the Never-Ending Story 3 had just come out of in 93 or 94.
Yeah.
It seemed that was a very common thing in the 90s, was like these kids fantasy movie type things.
Yeah, these big swing adventures were still making some money in the box office.
Yeah. Because there's
this wasn't
another
a
one.
box office. Huh?
I don't know. I thought this was straight to video.
Hard to say. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, you say that because, like, I mean, obviously, I never even remember seeing an ad for this or anything. But it's also like these aren't cheap set pieces, and like the wire work and all this other stuff. I mean, they used you go and look at their IMDb, like a whole bunch of different actors play the kangaroos. So
Yeah.
who knows what kind of antics are going on with that?
Well, that's what I was saying. You had to have some pretty serious, like, excuse me, stunt guys and martial artists like doing all they did in like that kangaroo makeup. That would actually be really challenging.
Yep.
Let me see,
Again, more props given to Angus McFadden and his screaming eagle just bouncing around all over the place. And then still doing that. Still acting on top of that.
I guess it did come to box office, it says.
Yeah, I figured it might have, because again, Angus McFadden, big draw.
Yeah. Critical and commercial failure. It only made about $6.5 million on a $35 million budget. So yeah, in '97, that wasn't no small budget.
No, I didn't think it would be.
Yeah.
Because again, we also have a football guy cameo. Which, what the fuck is that guy's name?
I looked it up a minute ago. I didn't get a chance to say Warren Moon.
Warren Moon, yes, correct.
Yeah. Do you like how, speaking of football, the bully, like his friends just immediately turned on him? They had no problem like running up. It was like, ho, did you speak or did you fart? Which was a hilarious line.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just fantastic, man.
I might start saying that. And then at the end, they're just immediately like, you know what? Screw you. And like they leave him just abandoned on that ledge.
Yeah, well, because Brad's obviously a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
You know, I love as he's crossing over, he just goes, shut up. Just kind of does exactly that. Like, just Brad needs some fucking silence. Whatever it is, you know? So, yeah, it only makes sense that they would leave him at that time. And, you know, yeah.
My question, though, is that's kind of messed up still. I know he's a bully, but, like, is he going to die down there? Like,
yes.
Like, how long is it going to be before anyone finds him?
He's either going to die, or he's going to go to a land of kangaroos, or, and this is the way I choose to look at it, both.
That's going to be his redemption arc. He goes to Tao. And like,
Yeah. Exactly.
So then,
if you don't figure out a way to have Angus McFadden kill himself and then come back benevolent,
and go like,
you're here forever. This is your hell.
This is your hell. Yeah, you forever are doomed to compliment him wearing the color purple.
Yeah. And in the words of your previous visiting friend, you will know death.
Yeah.
It's like
all of a sudden it just turns into the Hellraiser movies. Yeah.
Basically, dude, you could have put that shot in a Hellraiser movie, and it would have matched up perfectly. Of this 9-year-old just screaming and crying, holding up, I don't want to know death.
Yeah. Holy, that's traumatizing right there.
Yeah. Like, good God, this shit got dark fast.
Yeah.
And, you know, well, you got even darker, which, you know, they doubled down, and I appreciate them doing that. Every time you thought they had their chips displayed on the table, Angus McFadden would come with a whole another just safety deposit box full of chips. And like, no, we're going to go even nutser.
What did he do after this? Like, I feel like he had to. I know he's still working today.
Well, he did the Robert the Bruce film in 2019, so he's definitely done a lot since then.
And like, he's done some major stuff. You know, it's not all like crappy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what I saw him in before this. That I knew, I've known that he was in, because Braveheart's such a huge, inescapable movie, even though I haven't seen it. I knew that he was Robert the Bruce in Braveheart.
Yeah.
But the hell, like, what have I seen him in that I know?
Equilibrium with Christian Bale.
That's it. Yeah.
I know he's also in that show. My parents like it a lot. Outlander.
Heard some interesting things about that show.
Yeah, apparently it's gotten pretty popular. But my parents like this is no judgment on your parents, but I heard that it's like a show where like a chick goes into different periods of time in the past, and she finds a fella to hook up with, and that's how she finds her way back home. Each episode, something like that. There is definitely a time travel element, but it's like a magical like thing. It's not like a science fiction thing like Terminator, but it's there's a time travel element. Yeah.
Is the magic love?
Well, I don't know the whole movie, but I know a lot of the show. She spends back in 1700s Scotland.
What do you mean she spins back?
Spends, spends time back there.
Oh, spins. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying she did like the physical action of spinning in like the reverse time.
It's like
Maybe,
she spends a lot of time back there in that.
Or it's like an emotional, psychological connection where she just gets into dancing.
I need to watch it. I've only seen a few episodes, just when my parents have been watching it. I know I want to say at one point she brings the guy that she's in love with back to the future, but which I guess would be the present at the time because she's from like the 40s. But but I want to say she ends up going back to the past with him and like living back there with him. I want to say what happens, but I don't know. Honestly, I need to watch it.
Yeah, I was going to say when all else fails, just hard line. Always go back to 1985. That's always the ground zero time you're dealing with time travel. And I'm sure they'll get there in future seasons. This was a wild one, man. I haven't seen any Outlander episodes, but I think I would be hard pressed to find an Outlander episode more wild than Virtues.
It's not going to be this wild. It's going to be significantly better.
By the way, if my mom, when I was a child, if my mom was, tucking me in goodnight and was saying, "How was your day?" and I answered, "Virtuous," she would stop whatever she was doing and just be like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah, like
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Go on, son. Do explain to me how you've had it gone to have a psychological break. You just like basically winked at me like it was nothing and said virtuous, like that was something I'm supposed to know what that means. I do not.
What did you do?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
In fact, you didn't even look at me, Ryan. You looked past me like there's a camera behind me. What the hell are you looking at, son? What? You went and danced in the sewers? And then you found yourself at odds with a man who wanted to kill a bunch of kangaroos?
Yeah, next scene you see he's at like a psychiatrist's office.
Yeah. Doctor, I didn't realize he had a fever, but yeah, his temperature reads 108.
Yeah. Also, we're going to have to commit him. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty soon he's going to lose all functioning of just connecting words into sentences altogether. And he's just going to be saying, ruse, they're ruse.
Yeah, and he's going to be in a straitjacket in a room. They exist, I swear.
Yeah. We knew he was going nuts when as soon as he called kangaroos a ruse.
Yeah.
Like even if you're around that world, don't just go up to somebody who's new to it and expect them to be just down with your kangaroo slang.
And for some reason, he keeps asking if he looks good in purple.
I have to tell him every time, Ryan, you're in a white straitjacket. You will never know purple again.
Yeah, exactly. That's not any of the issued clothing. None of it's purple.
Yeah.
I mean, several people in here went on to have decent careers. Like Marley Shelton's been to a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't really recognize too many of the other people.
I'm curious what the main guy did. Like what his journey was like in this whole movie. Because I feel like it was started out as one thing and they're like budget hit and they're like, hey, Ming, you're done. You know, I know we said you're going to have a whole another week with you next month. That's been cut. You want to clap it up for Ming. Ming is done.
Oh, wow. There's toys here. I'm seeing some. I was trying to search one of these characters. Okay. One of the guys that played one of the kangaroos. Oh, I think he played the metal one. Yi. At least the physical or his name.
He's one of the guys, right? Yeah.
His name is
There's
Doug.
Like a whole list.
Yeah. His name is Doug Jones, and he's known. He's like a really tall and really thin guy, and he's known for like playing characters with extreme makeup. Like he was in Pan's Labyrinth as the creature that had eyes in his hands.
Oh, okay.
He was
I know
also
what you're talking
the
about, yeah.
creature in The Shape of Water. The
I mean, he could expand his roles beyond creature, but
well, those are the two that I can think of off the top of my head. He was also something in Hellboy.
I think he was another guy who put his eyes up to his hands.
Yeah.
Well, that was Guillermo del Toro, wasn't it? Hellboy. So these are all, yeah. Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, but he's been in a lot of stuff, is my point. Yeah. And he
Right on.
frequently does stuff like under very heavy makeup.
Man's got a face for makeup. Good for him.
Yeah, yeah. It's better than a face for radio, huh?
It's the only one I seem to know. No, I'm not
Yeah.
on radio.
I think different guys did like some of the scenes, some of them different ones did the voice, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Like I said, just laundry list of different actors who played all the different kangaroos was endless.
yeah, because here I'm looking here at the things there. So here's like the actors for voices, and I'm sure there's going to be different ones that did all the like fighting and stunts and all that, you know. Because doing that in a giant kangaroo outfit would not be easy.
And where did they film this? This was like, I think I saw something about a studio in Canada, like Montreal or something.
That would make sense. But let's see if it says. Wow, it says it cost $56 million to produce. Goodness gracious!
Damn, dude, that's a lot of Canadian coin.
Yeah.
Make some kangaroos fly.
MGM distributed. The movie began shooting. Wow, 8 animatronic kangaroos. Okay, so there were animatronics involved.
And did they reuse any from old Tank Girl?
I'm not seeing anything. I'm just reading the Wikipedia here, but
Yeah,
not seeing anything about that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting indeed.
It currently has an 18% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not surprised.
It's earned that rating. Worked hard to get it.
I'm going to look that up for myself because I want to see it. You know, a lot of times I'm pretty forgiving on some of these movies when they have real low ratings like that. I'm like, oh, come on, they weren't that bad. This movie just,
What's the
I don't
rating
want to
that I
be
think
mean,
we
but it just didn't make any
aspire for this
sense. It was
podcast?
just, I was just watching and being like, what? Like,
Yeah, once again, man, I got to commend you. You
thank you. Thank you.
found the perfect fucking film for this thing.
I might be able to come up with some more ridiculous ones if I think hard enough.
I don't know that I'll be able to be honest, bud. I think this is top notch level. I definitely don't think I'll be able to compare. I have one for our next episode that I don't think you've seen, but it is actually a cult classic of mine.
Okay.
If
I'm intrigued.
If you like The Matrix, but want a concept that's not quite as good as The Matrix and doesn't have as much action as The Matrix or the editing of The Matrix.
So
but
like
also at the
Wish.com
same
Matrix.
time. So basically, it's Wish.com Matrix, and it's an exceptional piece of artwork. Just it's a shame that it came out at the same time as The Matrix. But it's called The 13th Floor.
Okay.
It stars a man whose career I would be honored to mirror. Like, I'm kind of poking fun at him, but like it would be a dream for me to like fail upwards the way that this man has. He's like the better version of me, of where like he gets the huge opportunity, but then it, for some unknown reason, the stars don't align, and it kind of flops. And then he gets another huge opportunity from some other big filmmakers, and for some stupid reason, the stars don't align, and that one flops. Talking about a Mr. Craig Bierko.
I knew it. When you said fail upwards, I knew it had to be him.
Yeah. It's just magical. His career. What I want. I want to be able to be in like one of the first Larry David films ever to be made, and that flops. And then the first scary movie to ever be made that doesn't isn't a home run success. And multiple sitcoms along the way. But the guy's a great actor. And really, this was another one. This was going to be a huge movie. I don't remember what the reviews were, but the concept was pretty wild. But of course, a movie with a similar concept came out and just blew everyone's socks off. It was an action-packed, from minute 1 to minute 200. That was called The Matrix. This is not.
I see the little preview here on imdb.com, and I can already tell, it just seems kind of I see what you mean, like The Matrix, but without the budget and special effects. And
it's not bad for what it is in 1999. It's not terrible. It's only the effects budget only seems terrible when you compare it to The Matrix and the knowing that it came out at the exact same time.
You're like, whoa, by comparison, this looks like crap. Yeah.
But by comparison to most graphics or whatever, compared to The Matrix, everything looks like crap.
I mean, that's also one reason why The Matrix got so big was that was mind-blowing at that time. Those effects, it was like, holy
still
crap.
Is.
It still looks pretty decent. Yeah.
I'd say it actually only went to look worse than the 2 and 3 when they just used heavily, when they relied on CGI, PlayStation 2 cutscene effects.
Yeah, there were a few of those that were like, huh? But honestly, I'm all aboard on this film. Not only do I like that sound, but we also have Vincent D'Onofrio and Dennis Haysbert. Oh, and Leon Rippey. So yeah, count me in.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who's Leon Rippey.
The Patriot. You remember that movie with Mel Gibson?
Oh yes. I love that guy. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's another actor I'd love to see more of him.
Yeah, he's another one of those just character actors that's always just turning up.
He's up.
Yeah.
He was no spring chicken in this film, so.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anything else? Anything else you want to add to old Warriors of Virtue?
No. Other than there is a straight to DVD sequel, so we should consider that in the future if we want to really go crazy.
What is it just called? Warriors of Virtue 2?
Yeah, Return to Tao.
2 Warrior, Return to Tao.
Yeah. 2 Warrior, 2 Virtuous. Something like that. Yeah. With the 2.
Tao, how.
Yeah. Featuring ZZ Top.
How about that for episode 5 of our 3rd season? Hot diggity dog. 5 and alive. Staying hot. Staying relevant. Staying around. It's great to be in mid-season, keeping me on my toes. Keeping old John Boy on his toes, It's good to have tasks, dear listener. It's good to look to complete those tasks, and then realize that, hey, you know what I've done here? I've given myself not 1 but 2 to 9, way too many tasks. And so then you have to cut back on some of those tasks, and you say, hey, you know what? Task, just chill the fuck out. Just take a breather, task. Chillax, task. I'm coming back for you. I'm gonna get these necessities done first. The necessitask, as I call them, my task pile. get the necessitas done first, and then I come back for the excessive task later. And that's how you maintain a decent pile of things to do with your day and your 35 years of life, dear listener. And I hope that's what you're able to find with this podcast, along with the ramblings of mine and my co-host, talking these old silly fun films, or just generic wildness of life in general. We sure hope you enjoy tuning in. And with closing, and as always, I'd like to say, como se llama hermana? Lo siento, Palapinto. Good night, all my North Texans, and sweet dreams, all my fellow Angelinos, and to everyone in between. You know what I mean. Have a good day, a good night. Make sure it's out of sight. For this has been another episode of the Big Boys Podcast.
Big Boys is a podcast produced by Not So Funny or Proud Productions. The team consists of co-hosts, co-producers, and co-editors Brian Hickey and John Sorrells, better known as John the Great. For more information about the duo or this show, please visit us at bigboyspodspot.com, or feel free to take a gander at our production page, notsofunnyorproud.com. Look us up on social media and follow us at Big Boys Podspot. New episodes drop every Thursday on every popular podcast hosting platform known to man. So please be sure to like, subscribe, vibe, describe, contrive, confide, collide, abide, preside, tell your tribe, and most importantly, do prescribe. Me and Elixir for talking out the side of my neck.